Welcome to the Real Talk. If you're joining us for the first time, you are welcome. And today we have yet another episode. On the Real Talk, we have open, honest, and truthful conversations around everything that has to do with the health and well-being of adolescents and young people. I am your host, Luwumbe Jeremiah Mulanda from the Zambian Youth Platform. Thank you so much for joining us. Remember, we come to you every Friday at 2 p.m. Central African time on our Facebook and all our other social media platforms. You can contribute to this conversation today by simply just sending your questions, your comments, or your contributions to the chat on this live, and we'll be able to read them to our guests and, of course, digest some of the information that you're going to be sending us. Big ups also to my sign language interpreter, Shadrick, who will be sign languaging for us this afternoon. I am not alone today. I am joined by two wonderful ladies who I'm going to allow to introduce themselves. I will begin with you, Natasha. Good afternoon, and how are you doing?
Thanks, Jeremiah. Good afternoon. Hi to everyone that has tuned in. My name is Natasha Mwila. I am the current AVEC fellow in Zambia, AVEC standing for AIDS Vaccine Advocacy Coalition. I am also the Advocacy and Information Officer with the Network of Zambian People Living with HIV. And it's really good to be here. It's always a pleasure to be here. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Natasha. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. Madam Londo, please also introduce yourself.
Good afternoon, Jeremiah, and good afternoon, viewers. I'm Rwendo Bumba, an adolescent health specialist from Charles Drew University, Rise Up Project. I'm a nurse by profession. It's good to be with you today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Madam Bumba. We are so honored to have you in our business. Now, we are discussing all things the highest new infections amongst adolescents and young people. Now, this is a very touchy subject, mind you, when you are speaking about this topic with the young people, because one, it's very scary. It brings the realities to ground. So maybe even as we kickstart the conversation, what are some of the recent HIV statistics that speak to the new HIV infections amongst the young people? Because I have been with young people who've said, you know what, these are just lies. These people are just lying. Where is the data to back these conversations up? So do we have the statistics that prove that truly the new HIV infections are mostly predominant amongst the adolescents and young people? Natasha, would you like to speak to that?
Yes, sure. So as of 2020, through the Zambia AIDS Indicator Survey, there's about 21,000 new infection among adolescents and young people. And that is around 42% of young people that account for HIV infections every year. So in these infections, new infection rates, the gender that is very highly vulnerable are adolescent girls and young women. You find that out of 5 people that get tested, 4 out of those 5 that would test positive are young girls. And young girls, especially in sub-Saharan Africa, really account for over 60% and more of new HIV infections. So it's really alarming. These numbers, when you speak numbers, they say more of 21,000. Now imagine having to put 21,000 people in a ground. That's quite a number. That's a lot of young people that are getting infected every other year.
Great stuff. When you begin to bring numbers to light, it just magnifies the problem. If you ask me, it just resurfaces all the things that we've been trying to step on and try and make it look like these issues are not existing. But now I'll bring in Madam Londo. You are an adolescent health specialist. You've been working in this space for a very long time. So from your point of view, even as you interact with young people, why and how? Maybe let's begin with the why. Should young people be part of the solution? Because the problem is huge. I think we can all agree to that. The problem is huge, but why should the young people be a part of this solution or the solutions that we're looking for?
Okay, thank you very much, Jeremiah. Young people must be part of this solution. Why? Because the young people are the key in the fight against HIV and AIDS. And not only that, young people can take charge of their own lives and be the role models of their friends. When I said being the role models of their friends, because young people understand these problems, and there are other young people that have gone through these problems and they have experienced them and they have solutions to these problems. So it is not good for adults, or rather just other people, to impose on things on these young people, because they understand the problem themselves and they should be involved in sorting out these problems. For us health workers, for us advocates, it's the matter of giving them informed decision. After that, they should make the informed decision after talking to them. Thank you so much.
Mm, mm. I like how you've highlighted that it's us the young people to take charge of our health. So it's your health for a reason. So no one is gonna come and take care of your own health. Of course, we have different other stakeholders who are doing their level best to ensure that their health and well-being generally of young people with regards to HIV in particular is safeguarded. But young people also need to come to the occasion. They need to be able to take up charge of their health. Now, Natasha, a young person out there might be asking themselves, okay, yes, there's an issue, the statistics are staggering, they are scary, they are all of those things, and then Madame Luendo says it's important for young people to participate, but how do I then participate as a young person?
Well, there's so many ways young people can get involved and be part of the movement to fight or combat HIV. So I'll start by saying this, just to echo Madame Lendo's point or remarks around, this disease is affecting mostly young people. We're the ones that are most vulnerable. So it's only important, or it is only cardinal, that we're the ones in the forefront, to take charge and be responsible. And the only way we can do that is really by participating. And how do we do that? We get tested. How many of you young people that are on this call watching this, how many young people know their HIV status? How often do they get tested? And only once you get tested, that's the only way you get to know how, you can either, if you have to continue, you have to prevent yourself, or if at all you test positive, you put yourself on treatment, or you're put on treatment, or you're linked to treatment and care, support and care. And then you just, you have a long life to live. So you first start by getting tested. If other than just really making that decision to get tested, another thing is really just to be part of the moment, share the information. I always say this among us, my friends, we usually share every other information, but when it comes to SR/HR issues, these are things that we never really discuss. So among us ourselves, we get to share, well, okay, and I'll circle back to the lifestyle right now. It's changed. Back in the day, it was abstinence, and it was more conservative. But right now, we young people, we're risk takers, and there's a lot of factors that are contributing to high HIV infections, new HIV infections. You talk of young people engaging in transactional sex, as young people having multiple partners. So all of those things, are factors or reasons that lead to new HIV infections. So if I know the way I live my life, the only way to really be a part of this movement and take charge is really get, other than what I've already mentioned, getting tested. You can also use the HIV prevention methods that have been made available. We do have oral prep, the condoms, make sure that you use the condoms correctly. We also have, new HIV biomedical prevention methods that are coming on board. So it's really important to also, have access to the information. And also we have the internet. A lot of things have been made very easy right now. Information is everywhere. So really making sure that we have access to that information so that we better protect ourselves to prevent, getting infected. But I'm going to also mention something around, having information to make an informed decision. So only when we have this information, we share information amongst ourselves, then only can we know how best to really live a fulfilling life. And right now, I'd also want to add that there's a lot of movements that are ongoing. If you're a person that is passionate about, social movements and change and really making that impact in the community, there's a lot of movements and platforms that you can attach yourself to, where if they say if you're not infected, you're affected. If it's just not maybe yourself, if maybe it's not your family, but really the community that you live in. So if you're that young person that wants to be part of these movements, you can just really, I'm sure at the end of the call or through just the Zambia Youth platform, you can be a member of and really just share information, be part of these movements where you advocate for HIV prevention, you share information with other young people that are not as privileged to have the information in order to really reduce the new HIV infections.
Great stuff, great stuff. I like what you have mentioned, Natasha, and I was also just going to add, even as you're thinking, a thought came to me saying, Natasha, you and I have sat in meetings where some of these issues are being discussed at a higher level. And as advocates, as activists, as young leaders, as young people in general, we need to be able to be in that space where Madame Luendo is, for example, where she's designing a project, where she's making critical decisions about how to reduce new HIV infections, because it is only then when we can make real impact. Because even as we join social movements, we need to ensure that we are at the table where they are making decisions. And even as we come to that,
Exactly.
we need to be informative. You're not just coming to the table just to sit and listen. You need to be able to meaningfully contribute, but you only meaningfully contribute if you know what is happening. So thank you very much, Natasha, for all of those insightful points that you have mentioned. If you are just joining us, welcome to the Real Talk, where we have real, open, and honest conversations. Please share with us your questions, your comments, and your contributions, and I'll be able to read them aloud on the show, and also ask the panelists on the show. Now, I'll come to you, Madam Luendo. Natasha has highlighted from the young people point of view. From the specialist point of view, how do you think the young people can be able to be a part of the solution? Because I know a number of young people who are itching to be a part of the solution, but maybe they don't know how they can do that. How can young people be a part of the solution?
Okay, thank you very much, Jeremiah. Young people can be part of the solution, one,
Mm,
by being engaged as
mm,
health personnel, or as organizations that deal with young people. We make sure that we engage these girls into the programs and they become part of these programs. In as much as they become part of these programs, we bring in programs like social networking testing services, where young people can be engaged, can be talked to go and bring other people that they play with. Because we assume, um, if let's say my lifestyle is almost the same lifestyle that my friend is also having. So if I'm at risk of contracting HIV, meaning even my friend is also at risk. So
mm,
if we engage these young people, um, after engaging them, they go out there. They shouldn't keep the information. We encourage them to go out there and bring their friends. If it's testing for HIV, they come and receive the information and make the informed decision, just as I said that earlier on, so that they are
mm,
also tested. And not only that, young people, as I said earlier on, that they should own up their own health.
mm,
You find that the challenge that young people have is that they don't have information.
mm,
Um, Young people are out there without information, and sometimes they talk about these sexual issues, but they don't really know much
mm,
about it. They end up practicing what they don't understand. But if they come to safe spaces, let's say like Rise Up House, where we
mm,
have in addressing girls and young women discuss sexual reproductive health issues and other psychosocial support activities that happen here. Um, they'll be able to learn more from here and be able to tell their friends out there and bring them to understand their issues. So the other thing is engaging these young people into policy making. In as much we are
mm,
going to sit and make policies, make plans about them, it's not really the real thing that they want. Will not
mm.
talk about the real thing that they want. Young people must be engaged in policy making so that even when we make these policies, they suit them. They are able to utilize the information that is available in healthcare system. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The comment section is buzzing. I would like to read a few comments to you. I'll start with the one from Doris. Doris, thank you so much for coming through. Doris says a lot of young people are not scared of getting infected, rather getting pregnant, because they want to jump on a social trend, even when awareness is there. Victoria Nakanika says, young people, we need to understand that we need the data and the skills for when the table is being offered to us. We have the information on how to navigate and make our voices heard. Thank you so much, Victoria, for coming through. Blasio also adds that indeed, especially adolescents and young people, they are not scared to get infected of STIs and HIV and pregnancy. This is really, really scary. I'll come to you, Natasha. Where is this trend? Like Doris said, where is this trend coming from? HIV is something that I think when my mom was growing up, this is something that was so scary. For you to sit down and have a conversation around HIV was something that would send shivers down people's spines. But why do you think young people are having this laissez-faire attitude when it comes to HIV, most especially? Because I have also interacted with young people who are actually more scared of getting pregnant than getting HIV. But if you think about the two, HIV is more deadly when it comes to pregnancy. But why do you think young people all of a sudden don't just think HIV is something that's really serious?
Right. So just as you have said, I think in my experience, what I've come to realize is that there's a low perceived risk of HIV infection. So I have had the opportunity to work with young people and collect information from them, and they would tell you, "Well, I only have one partner, and there's no way I can get HIV. I can't get infected." So you see already there are dynamics that comes with HIV infection. So this is a partner that they have, but then there's a trend. So this partner might have another partner and another partner. So there's that the perception of how HIV comes through. I think it's to I would say maybe, with how the stigma and the discrimination that comes with it. It's always thought that the people that can only get infected are the ones that are promiscuous, for lack of a better term. I'll use that. But anyone is at risk of getting HIV. So also just what I think in the comments that was read to say a lot are more scared to get pregnant as compared to getting infected. I think it's also a situation where nowadays we do have ARVs, we do have treatment, and once you're in treatment, you have a full life ahead of you, and no one can even tell that one is HIV. But as like you made a comment earlier to say back in the day, it was something scary because we used to see that if someone is HIV, you could see how they would deteriorate, their health would deteriorate because we've come a long way in line with medicine. Back then, we didn't have, medicine where people take one pill a day. It was different back in the day, and there wasn't really much access to treatment. So because now there's that evolvement. There's treatment. There's U equals U, which is untransmittable is equal, undetectable is equal to transmittable, meaning if your viral load is suppressed, and undetectable, meaning you can't transmit HIV. So because of the medicine and the technology that has advanced, a lot of young people nowadays don't get to really understand what HIV really is. And so what is seen, I there's a colleague of mine who said this one time, and he says, I think the scare is really with pregnancy, you can see it. With HIV, you can't see it.
Yeah.
So I think it's really, if I get pregnant, everyone is going to condemn me. But in a situation where I am infected, I'll just put myself on treatment. But there's a lot of dynamics when it comes to really when one tests positive. I work with the network of Zambian people living with HIV, and they will tell you this, that being on treatment is not easygoing. The side effects, there's a lot of things that come with being on treatment and being tested positive. It's not a life sentence when one tests positive. There's medication, of course, but really the low perception of young people when it comes to HIV infection is quite scary. And I think that's why a lot of young people are getting infected right now. We don't want to protect ourselves. Why? Because the first thing when I am having unprotected sex is not HIV, it's not STI, but it's pregnancy, especially for young.
Okay. Just to add on what Natasha has said, for sure, young people are scared of. For me, I think somehow it's not really that they are scared of just pregnancy and not HIV, but young people don't really understand that an HIV positive person can look as healthy as they are. They think when they see someone who is malnourished, who is emaciated, that is an HIV positive person. But meanwhile, an HIV positive person can be as healthy as they are. And especially those who are not yet on treatment, the viral load is very high. and the rate at which they are transmitting is quite very high compared to someone who is on treatment, just as Natasha said. Um, so young people must be taught that HIV positive, an HIV positive person looks as healthy as another person. It's not everyone who is HIV positive who look emaciated. As long as they are on treatment, or maybe probably they have just gotten the infection and their viremia is very high, and they can easily transmit the HIV. So it's important that the young people are taught, they go to places where they can access information. We have enough safe spaces. We have enough of those peer educators in the community who can teach the young people about HIV, the reality of HIV. Because I'm saying that because after they test positive, you really see that they don't really want to test positive, because they will show they will not show interest in such. Some of them will not even adhere on this same treatment. You take months and months to just cancel one person to make sure that they are suppressed. So it is important that they understand. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I like that so much. I think it's the understanding also of HIV in general, as an issue, as an emerging issue, as an issue that has always existed around the young people. That is where the challenge is. Now, I know we've spoken about the problem at length, where it's coming from, what we need to begin to do, but this is the time to now speak about innovation. And I'll come to you, Natasha. What are some of the innovations that you think young people can begin to bring to the table? Because we've tried certain things for a very long time. We've tried abstinence, we've tried being faithful, being truthful, we've tried condomizing, we've now done prep and pep, but these issues are still existing, and the statistics are showing that these issues are actually increasing. The statistics are showing that the numbers are increasing. So what new innovations do you think young people can begin to bring to the table?
Right. Thanks for that, Jeremiah. So, we can't run away from all the prevention methods that you have just highlighted. We have condoms, abstinence, we have oral prep. Even new and better technologies are coming in now. I mentioned earlier that we'll be having the injectable prep coming in country very soon, which is long acting. You have 6 jabs in a year, and you're prevented from contracting HIV. So I think, in terms of young people being innovative and really being part of this, we have been talking about how there's lack of information, there's less understanding. Young people don't have information to make informed decisions on how best they can protect themselves. So with technology nowadays, that is one way we can utilize these platforms and spaces to be innovative and try and reduce the number of new HIV infections among young people. There's new apps, right? I mean, there's the development of apps. We do have apps, development of apps that can be looked into, where instead of young people, because there's a lot of structural barriers when it comes to a young person like me going maybe to a health facility, because I'm afraid, well, I will find someone at the health facility that looks like my mom, or if it's in the community, maybe that person knows my mom or my dad. So how then do I go to the health facility to access condoms or any other prevention methods? So if we do get to have apps where I can just so we purchase food or any other commodities, why can't I access certain services through these apps, so that it's at my convenience and also at my discretion? Also, even just the social media platforms that we have TikTok, we have Facebook, Instagram. Instead of just going on those platforms and just really, well, come spend the day with me, but we can share information on HIV and really how best we can prevent ourselves. There's more information that we can utilize. I mean, these platforms we can utilize to share information at large, because I have personally seen how TikTok can be very impactful and very influential. So if us young people can use such innovations, to share information, comprehensive information to other young people that may not be as privileged to have the information. And also, there are a lot of young people that are very artistic. They have these artistic skills. We have some that are poetic. We can use drama, music, all of those artistic skills that young people possess to really just push the agenda and the movement to reduce new HIV infections so that we can end HIV by 2030. So there's so many innovations that we young people can participate in and just really tap into to make a difference in what's happening right now.
Thank you so much. Let me quickly just go back to the comment section because Blasio again says, just to add on what Madam said, adolescent young people are scared to go to our nest to test for HIV. They want to follow adolescents and young people. I think we should train young people so that they can manage to test HIV and also STIs. This will help young people to get tested. Thank you. I submit. Thank you so much for that submission. So he thinks it is important to be able to train more young people so that they can easily access these services. Doris again says there are a lot of myths about HIV infections which young people have from people without full information on HIV infections. So myths and misconceptions coming back again. Emmanuel from Facebook also says we need to influence a mindset change in us young people if we need to attain the necessary knowledge for youth preservation. Many youths and young adults are no longer scared of infections. It's like we do things without looking at implications it brings. This we need to really build. This is why we really need to build a mindset of change if we want to help our youth populace abstain from illicit actions that put us at risk of infections. It has to move from awareness and advocacy to a place of practicing the awareness and the advocacy. I like that so much. Moving from just advocacy and awareness to begin to practice what we preach. I was also just going to add, Natasha, that I was viewing your status one of these days and I saw that you are beginning to use your TikTok page to be able to talk about these issues, which is the core for us young people. It's not just about a day in my life, a day in my life. No, I was at Eastburg. No. Let's use our social media platforms. If we have followers, even if we don't have followers, you don't know who might be watching. You don't know, who needs that information. And let me also just take this time to be able to motivate young people because I know there's someone out there who's thinking, I'm talentless. I might not even be the smartest in the room. I might not even be the wisest in the room. But if you think about this, and this is something that has always kept me going, if you think about the concept of the lion is the king of the jungle, but the lion is not the smartest animal. The lion is not the fastest animal. The lion is not even the heaviest animal. The lion is not even the tallest animal, but the lion still manages to be the king of the jungle. You can be the king of this fight. You can be the person that probably takes us out of this dire situation. You don't have to be the smartest. You don't have to have Madame Luando's experience. You don't even have to speak like me. You don't need to have Natasha's expertise. You just need to be able to be willing, to come and, be a part of this great movement that we are trying to build as young people. And to that effect, I always bring goodies to the Real Talk. So I have a special announcement to the young people and everyone who's watching. What is the most innovative solution to reducing new HIV infections amongst adolescents and young people? From your point of view, what do you think is the most innovative solution? Please send that comment, that contribution, whatever you think it is. And the next week on the show, I will be giving prizes. Guys, you're not ready for this one. I will be giving prizes to the most innovative solution because we want to promote the young people. We want to be able to promote your ideas and bring them to the table. As we draw to the end of the show, I will bring in Madam Luendo, adolescent health specialist. You've worked in this field for over so many years, gathered a lot of experience and expertise. What do you think young people can bring to the table, and what is the take-home message from this conversation?
Okay, young people, I understand that they are very innovative, especially the young people of now, that they are computer people. Why can't one of you come up with an app that where young people can just click when they want information about HIV, they click, it comes. When they want information about sex and sexuality issues, it comes, where information is well explained and well elaborated, and it has a direction where someone can go if they want to ask more questions. For me, I feel such an app which has quiz, they can answer questions, and they get some points out of it. There are videos which they can watch. And at the end of the day, the information will go very far that way. Um, the take home message for the adolescents. I know the adolescents who are watching me right now. Um, we have a house, which we call Rise Up House in Lusaka. That is in Chilenge. It is located in Woodlands, where I'm sitting right now, where young girls come to have different activities, sexual reproductive health lessons, and also innovative ideas are found here. And you find a safe space. We test for HIV. We give you health information. Even those who are on treatment, they pick their medication from here. And this place is not just for the positive, so it's not segregative, it's for all. And when someone comes to pick their medication, no one will know that you've come to pick your medication at the Rise Up House. That is if you are picking your medication from Chilenge Hospital for Chilenge site, and you are suppressed. Yes. So the important thing is to be suppressed. And we also have a Rise Up House in Kanyama. We have a Rise Up House in Matero. We also have a Rise Up House in Chawama. And also in the Copper Belt sites, we have sites where we are. So find time to come, make a date. As long as you're an adolescent from 15 to 24, and you are a girl or a young woman, you can find yourself at the Rise Up House. And the other take-home message that I will give to the young people is, please, as you are talking, don't be careless with your talks. The tongue is a very bad thing if you don't use it well. You can kill someone. Because what I see to my girls, especially those who are students who mingle with their friends, the challenge they find is that their friends talk so much bad about HIV. Don't talk bad about it, but promote prevention. Promote those who are on treatment to take their medication. Don't talk bad things about those who are taking medication, because you don't know how they got infected. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I will be personally visiting the Rise Up House, if not all the houses here in Lusaka, to just also interact and just have a feel of the houses. Natasha, what is the take-home message from this conversation?
Right. I always emphasize this. As young people, we need to really take responsibility for our health and just really make sure that we're healthy. Just as Madam Wendell mentioned earlier, we need to be kind to one another. And I always say this, like, as a human being, we really need to be kind to one another, because you speak bad about someone who has contracted HIV or is a person living with HIV, but you don't know how they got that. There's now there's also a method of transmission that is mother to child. The person might have been born with it. And also there's so many ways one might have contracted the infection without having to attach the stigma of promiscuity to it. So we need to really take that responsibility to make sure that we're okay by getting tested. And if we know the kind of lifestyle that we live, if I have 2 boyfriends or 3 boyfriends, or I have a sugar daddy, and that's the lifestyle right now, make sure that you prevent yourself. Use condoms correctly. Make sure that you put yourself on PrEP. Make sure that you visit the nearest health facility to seek the services that you need, because you may be okay today, but you do not know the person that your partner's status. So you really need to make sure that you protect yourself. And just really, I wanted to also make mention or just comment on the innovations that young people need to really do or participate in. I also wanted to throw this back to also the policymakers and just the government, because I think in as much as young people are being encouraged to be involved in decision making, I think the government also really needs to look at all the social determinants that surrounding young people. Just yesterday was HIV vaccine awareness day. We do not have a vaccine yet, so it was just a day really to take time to really thank the researchers and all the people that are volunteering to be part of the research that is ongoing. So we took to the community. We were doing some outreach program where we were at a ground in Garden, and we just had a stand there, and we had HIV testing kits, we're distributing condoms, and you will be I was personally surprised as to how many people came to get tested, and others were willing to also be put on PrEP. So those are some of the initiatives also that the government, innovative initiatives that the government and decision makers have to tap into. It's not really all about, yes, me as a young person going to seek information, but can also the government come to us, to our convenience, so that we can get tested. There was a gentleman who said, I've always wanted to get tested, but I never get to find the time. And even when I go to the health facility, I find that there's stockouts of some of these commodities and I never get tested. So it's really an urge also to the government that we also step up. There's a lot of new HIV prevention methods. Yes, kudos that the cabotegravir injectable is coming in country, but there's also the deparent vagina ring that the government also needs to look into, and just really make sure that there's a lot of prevention methods that are made available to young people, and also they get to the community, because you find the people in the community. Young people are in the community, and hardly do young people ever come to the health facility. There's a saying that only women, they say there's seeking behavior amongst men is not really good, because it's only women that go to the health facility mostly, and it's mostly to seek family planning, and then they find themselves getting tested for HIV. But really, the people are in the community, young people are in the community, and we need to get to them if we need to ever want to reduce the HIV infection. So my urge to the young people: get tested, protect yourself, because tomorrow you will not say, no, it was my boyfriend that gave me HIV. It's your responsibility now to make sure that you're okay. That's my that's my take on the people that are watching.
Thank you so much, Natasha. We really appreciate your humble appeal, especially also to the government and all the stakeholders who are following this program. And thank you very much, Natasha and Madam Lwendo, for taking the time off your busy schedules to be able to be with us on the Real Talk. We really, really appreciate. And thank you so much to the viewers who also spared their time to be able to be a part of these insightful conversations. We appreciate your questions, your comments, and your contributions. And before I leave, remember that next week I'm coming with goodies. So what is the most innovative solution to reducing new HIV infections among adolescents and young people? Feel free to just go into the comment section and just leave something down there. We will be able to review, and next week we are going to be giving prizes. Also, just a gentle reminder that the Regional Adolescent Health Indawa has been postponed from the 1st to the 3rd of June. So it's happening on the 1st to the 3rd of June 2023, and we hope to see you there. From my sign language interpreter Shadrick and myself, Lubumbe Jeremiah Mulanda, thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, when we have another real, open, and honest conversation, it's bye from the Real Talk.
Thank you.